Hello and welcome back to another week's analysis behind the news. And as we like to say, what a week it was. Can the presidential campaign get any more animated? From secret meetings to Chris Christie coming out and talking about the loyalty pledge. It's all rather strange, but we'll dive right into it. The Washington Post gave us this headline: GOP operatives and conservative leaders meet to thwart Trump. There's a gentleman in here. He's by the name of Representative Trent Franks, Republican from Arizona. I have two quotes from him. The first is, "I am worried about the kind of damage that Trump could cause to our party. As a conservative, I can't trust Donald Trump to do the right thing." Second quote, "You could get another party on the ballot. A candidate could be picked as late as August. It would have to be a movement conservative." Well, isn't that just great? So we're going to not trust a candidate that the people want, obviously, but we're going to, the establishment's going to come forward and actually pick their own. Whether they do some sort of a third-party ballot or whatever the case may be. It's just nuts. Speaking of Chris Christie, we talked about the loyalty pledge. I mean, this just flies in the face. Here we've got candidates that had pledged that they will certainly support the nominee, whoever that may be. But yet they were just trying to get Trump to get locked in so that he wouldn't go off on a third-party run in order to, suck all these votes from the Republican Party. So in Real Clear Politics, headline is, "Christie, the very same people who made us sign a loyalty pledge are advocating not to support nominee." And he says, "If the Republican Party takes away the nomination from Donald Trump, if he is the candidate with the most delegates entering the party's convention, it would disenfranchise primary voters and cause people to become even more disillusioned." Exactly right. But perhaps that is the plan. But we won't know that, will we, until we actually find out what happens in July at the convention. What kind of shenanigans are they going to pull at the convention? Recall Ron Paul 2012. Absolutely insane. Very interesting that the Republican Party is actually attacking its leading candidate. Well, it's also attacking, or I should say George Soros is also attacking that candidate on two fronts. The first front is basically through a rival candidate, John Kasich. Now, Kasich had accepted $200,000 in excess, mind you, of $200,000 of campaign money from George Soros, nonetheless. And why is that? Do we think that Kasich has got a snowball's chance, where, in order to make this? Mathematically speaking, he's not able to get up the delegates to the delegate count in order to be that nominee. So what's the connection between Soros and Kasich? We don't know. We can only speculate. Second front, Soros is also pouring money into the anti-Trump protesters. MoveOn.org, Black Lives Matter, so on and so forth. They're all receiving money from George Soros. And his spending habits regarding these ad buys and money to go into the candidates is picking up dramatically. And so we see that happening as well. And so the Republican establishment, in essence, we don't want to say they're teaming up with George Soros, but certainly it sounds like they might be on the same team, perhaps. Maybe not, but that's kind of a stretch. But nonetheless, they are still doing the same thing to Donald Trump, aren't they? And speaking about the Chicago rally, the media was blaming the violence on Trump. Yet, how many of us have seen the videos online regarding the raw footage at that rally? Who were the ones that were throwing punches against the Trump supporters? Who were the ones that were becoming clashing, I should say, with police? Certainly wasn't those that were there to support Trump. And what was the outcome of this? Think of this a little bit. At the rally, these were all, I don't want to say all, but many of them were Sanders supporters. And you could trace back their movements regarding the strategies and tactics, I guess, of the anti-Trump protesters. They actually have a web page out there on Facebook. They were pushing people to get as many tickets as they could to the Trump rally, so that they could flood that rally with their own people. And that certainly happened, didn't it? Because obviously Trump called it off because he didn't want to see anything violent happen to his supporters as well as others. So it was rather interesting to see that happen. But what was the outcome of all this? I mean, did the Chicago politics boil over into the rest of the state, where the state, would have said, "Hey, we don't want Trump here either, so we're not gonna vote him through the primary." What happened? He swept the state. I believe one of the figures was like 38-39% of the vote that he received for the primary, followed by Cruz and Kasich. But yet Donald Trump won 53 delegates from the state of Illinois. It sounds like wasted efforts to me. Speaking of wasted efforts, Advertising Age magazine has come out with the top 10 campaign ad buyers to date regarding the presidential campaigns. And it says here, cumulative ad spending on broadcast, cable, and satellite TV plus radio. Number one person to spend the most money in the presidential politics, you couldn't even guess this. Number one is Jeb Bush. At how many millions? $80 million. What did he get out of that? Number two, Marco Rubio, $62 million. And we've got Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, pretty much tied about $40 million each. And then we've got Ted Cruz, $25 million, Chris Christie, $18 million, John Kasich, $15 million, Donald Trump, $11.5 million, and this is mostly his own money from Donald Trump. There's $25,000 that came from a PAC. And then Ben Carson, $5.7 million. Not to mention all of the other candidates that have dropped out. And so yet, when this type of fever grips people, they open up their wallets, and where does that money go? Well, let me offer a little quote here from a gentleman in the next page. CBS Corp President CEO Les Moonves last week told the Morgan Stanley Technology, Media and Telecom Conference that the high drama and low hijinks of the GOP race has been a boon to the TV business. And we're quoting him, it may not be good for America, but it's damn good for CBS. That's all I have to say. The money's rolling in and this is fun. It's amazing. I mean, they're not even talking about issues, he continues. They're throwing bombs at each other, and I think the advertising reflects that. Well, isn't that quite the case? Rather than what they are doing is they are promoting their own personalities out there, and they're going back and forth attacking one another. And what did that get the people that ponied up money for all of this? And if that was you opened up your wallet and say you gave $20, $25, $50, $100,000, $2 million, $5 million, whatever the case may be, what did you get from that? Had the party done what JBS does, and that is educate the electorate, they could have done a whole lot more with their campaigns regarding preparing the next election. But we didn't see that, did we? Had just a portion of that money come to JBS, we could have spread that out into many other areas and had a winning strategy going on. But yet that's not quite the case, is it? It's sad. And we go into this much more greater detail in the April bulletin for JBS dues-paying members. And if you're not yet a JBS dues-paying member, I invite you to do so. Go to jbs.org and sign up today.